You ever see a whole circus get shut down in the blink of an eye? I have. And I'm telling you, when the sheriff yanked the cord on Karen's house, it wasn't just her lights that died. It was the end of an entire freeloading operation that had been leeching off my ranch for months. You had to be there to hear the way her Christmas lights fizzled. The karaoke machine croaked, the tanning bed cut off mid-glow, even her ridiculous popcorn maker sputtered out, all while 200 party guests stood slack-jawed in the dark, and Karen shrieked like her world had just ended. That was the wildest showdown my little ranch ever saw, and believe me, I never set out to become the star of this drama. It all started, as most stupid stories do, with one suspicious spike on my electric bill and a gut feeling something wasn't right. See, running a ranch isn't cheap. You expect big bills with the freezer full of beef, the electric fences, and the water pumps running all hours. But when the cost jumped by several $100 in a week and the lights in my barn started flickering like a haunted carnival, I knew I wasn't just dealing with another busted wire. Something deliberate was going on. I still remember sitting there in my kitchen, the bill screaming at me and Red Fridge humming like it was nervous. At first I figured maybe it was age, a little storm damage, maybe mice in the wall. But then I noticed the timing. Every time my light stuttered, Karen's side of the fence glowed like a casino. Christmas lights in August pool lit up all night, her garage shining like NASA was running test launches. Didn't take a genius to see the pattern. Now Karen, she's always been the kind who loved pushing boundaries. Walked around with her little clipboard, acting like my tall grass or my weathered barn were threats to the neighborhood, even though she moved in knowing this was a working ranch. But lately, she was all sweetness, dropping off store-bought cookies, pretending she cared about my cattle right after calling them smelly lawn ornaments. And wouldn't you know, her sudden kindness always lined up with the weeks my power bill spiked. So I started taking notes. Every surge, every night, her property lit up like the county fair, her sprinklers dancing while my water pump died, her pool shining while my barn lights blinked out. After a while, the pattern wasn't just suspicious, it was impossible to ignore. So one night, flashlight in hand, I walked the fence. Just to satisfy that gnawing itch in my brain. That's when I saw it, this line of brush, looking a little too perfectly arranged. Underneath was a thick orange extension cable humming away, running from my side straight to hers. I laughed. I mean, who does that? Hides a neon orange lifeline under a pile of sticks like nobody's going to notice. My dog even growled at it, like we'd found a snake. I followed the cable, watched it snake under her hedge right into the heart of her backyard, where the party was always raging, and realized she wasn't just siphoning a little juice, she was running her whole HOA off my ranch's grid. I thought about storming over demanding answers, but you don't go up against a Karen without backup. So I took pictures. Documented everything, her makeshift breaker box behind a fake lattice fence, every switch labeled pool, spa, clubhouse, even guest house, all running on my dime. And wouldn't you know, as I was standing there taking it all in, I heard her barking orders at some poor handyman, telling him to plug in the coolers and make sure the bounce house was up by noon. I glanced around and saw her army of inflatable dinosaurs, unicorns, and cartoon characters, every single one plugged into my ranch, bobbing on stolen current. At that point, it stopped being theft and started feeling like an industrial operation. I almost respected the audacity if it hadn't been at my expense. Now, the smart move would have been to confront her head-on, but Karen was a drama queen. She'd spin the story, make herself the victim, and suddenly I'm the mean old rancher picking on the innocent neighbor. So I kept gathering evidence, photos, notes, even video. And every night I'd sip coffee on my porch, watching my land glow brighter from her side than mine, promising myself that this would end and end big. Eventually the damage hit home. My pump shut down, cattle went thirsty, barn lights died right in the middle of chores. And every time Karen's party got a little louder, she wasn't even subtle, held midweek HOA meetings with projectors and coffee makers running full blast powered off my meter while she lectured her board about community pride. I tried reasoning with her, asked if she noticed anything odd about her power. She just grinned, told me everything was running wonderfully, thanks to the HOA's upgrades, then pulled out a binder stuffed with fake bylaws all made up on her laptop. Told me I should be proud to serve the greater good, and maybe she'd make me an honorary member if I'd just quit complaining. You can't make this stuff up. I told her theft was theft, and she fired back that if I touched the cable, she'd have the board fine me for damaging community property. By then, my patience was gone. I tried talking to her board members, even cornered a few at the local coffee shop. But she'd brainwashed them, fed them lines about community power sharing, even handed me a letter fining me $300 for failure to maintain community power access. That one I saved for evidence along with every screenshot drone photo and fake bylaw. The more she tried to bluff me, the more I wanted to see her whole operation burn. So I bought wattage monitors, installed them along my fence, and started tracking every surge. The numbers were insane kilowatts, vanishing every time she hosted a party. I mounted a camera in the barn loft, borrowed a drone from a buddy, even caught night footage of her breaker box, glowing cables running like arteries across the yard. She'd even powered a neon HOA sign that read Community First. The irony nearly broke me. But as much as I enjoyed collecting proof, my ranch was suffering. Equipment breaking, animals stressed, and Karen was spreading rumors that I was too stingy to share, turning herself into the victim before I could even act. I knew then I needed backup. So I went to the sheriff, a no-nonsense man who'd dealt with her stunts before. Laid out all my evidence. He told me he'd suspected something but couldn't act until now. But with my file, we had enough for a showstopper. That's how Operation Vampire was born. We waited for her biggest event, a summer bash with over 200 guests, food trucks, live music, the whole circus. The sheriff let the party roll until the moment was perfect. Then in front of the entire crowd, he strode up to her yard, pushed aside the fake rocks, and yanked that orange cord out like a sword from a stone. Man, you should have seen it. The band screeched to a stop. The bounce house deflated. Popcorn machine died, and every guest stood in pitch black staring at Karen as she melted down on stage, shrieking that it was all a misunderstanding. The sheriff wasn't having it. He pulled out the folder, projected the photos, showed the wattage charts, even the bogus fine letter. The crowd turned. Board members slinked away. Karen ranted about being targeted, but nobody was listening. Her reign collapsed right there, her supporters scattering the kids, howling with laughter as the bounce house sagged into the grass. It should have ended there, but if you know a Karen, you know they never go down easy. Within a week, she was filing appeals accusing me of sabotage, even tried sneaking a thinner extension cord under the fence. Caught her red-handed literally under the spotlight, the sheriff helped me install with a security cam, snapping photos as she tripped over her own feet. That image made the rounds in town faster than wildfire. After that, even her most loyal followers disappeared. The HOA dissolved, and my power bills dropped back to normal. Peace came back to the ranch. The cattle grazed, the water pumps ran steady, and the only lights at night were my no more midnight carnivals next door. But I stayed vigilant because folks like Karen don't ever quit completely. They just wait for the next loophole. One more time, she tried to sneak up on my breaker box, muttering about the sheriff not being able to watch everything forever, but this time she got a spotlight and a crowd of laughing neighbors for her trouble. The real kicker. At the next county fair, the sheriff retold the whole blackout saga on the main stage, complete with volunteers reenacting the moment Karen's kingdom went dark. One guy wore a wig and plastic crown. The crowd roared, and I realized our whole showdown had become local legend, a parable about arrogance, theft, and a sheriff with perfect timing. Now every time I walk past the fence where that orange cord used to be, I can't help but feel lighter, like a shadow's finally lifted. Maybe Karen's still plotting, peeking out from behind her curtains, but her empire's gone. Justice took its sweet time, but when it comes with that kind of fireworks, it's worth every flicker, every sleepless night, and it leaves behind a story folks around here will tell for years. So what do you think? Was the sheriff right to unplug the circus in front of everyone, or did justice go too far? Drop your thoughts below. Let's hear what side you're on, because out here, stories like this, they never really end.